Okay. Hello, everyone. We are about to begin our office hours, and hopefully I'll be able to let people in as we get started. But for now, let's just get on the show. We will be on Gizmos today. So if you haven't done so, get on Gizmos right now. We will be using that for our sessions today for our office hours, okay? I'll give you guys about a couple seconds to get it. Well, actually, I don't need to give you guys a couple of seconds because it's a recording. So yes, so let's go into this real quick. So we have right here a beautiful little graph, right? So we learned about this past week, we learned about what? We learned about CER statements, claim, evidence, and reasoning statements. We went over data representation and what the input and output variables are, right? So let's do a quick example. We're gonna do create a graph. Oh, I don't want to use the noise. I hate the sound. Okay. We're going to use create a graph. We're going to do bar graph. And then we're actually going to switch it up because we already did animal speed data. Let's do something different. Let's do life expectancy. No, let's do a different one. Ooh, actually the oil production seems kind of cool. Oil production data. Okay. So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see it. And actually, I think I can make this into a bigger screen. Boom. Look at that. So we have this right here, right? We have create a graph, bar graph, and then we have what? We have oil production data. So let's convert this. Just the instructions right here. We want to label the vertical axis. We want to label the horizontal axis. We want to drag the bars to create a graph. We want to write the graph title, and we want to make the scale vertical axis with the correct range. Make sure it's correct range. Okay, so let's start with one of the simple ones. Let's do it with the graph title, right? The graph title right here. Well, I know that we already have a title for the table. So in order and not for us not to work hard, let's just do oil production data. Look at that, oil production data. And hold up, let me just make sure you guys can see my, yeah, you can see my face. Because I like my face being shown. I'm not ashamed of that. Oil production data, super simple, super quick, nothing more to it, right? Now let's go to our x-axis. It says label the horizontal axis, right? So label the horizontal axis. So we can actually look at the input. You can see it has USA, Russia, Saudi Arabia, Iraq. So it has some of the countries here. So we know, according to the table and according to the names, that the x-axis is going to have a label of country, right? Now, what is here right here? What's here, right? Here is our y-axis. We see some numbers right here. So according to our table, these numbers are the oil, MBPD. What does that stand for, MBPD? Well, if you go down here, the data shows oil production in millions of barrels per day. So MPD is millions barrels per day. So we can put oil and we can put MBPD or millions of barrels. Oh, I can't make it that long. So we'll just stick with MBPD. There you go. Right? So we have our x-axis, we have our y-axis. Our x-axis, also known as the independent variable. The independent variable is what we're testing. So we're testing the different countries. And our y-axis is our dependent variable, What does that mean? That means what are we recording? What are we measuring? In this case, we're measuring oil. We're recording oil in millions of barrels per day, everyone. Now, before we go on to actually labeling the bar graph or actually dragging the bars to create the graph, let's go to the scale right here. As you can see, the scale right here is from 0 to 100. But if you look right here on numbers, the highest number we have is what? A 12.0. So technically, we don't need that big of a scale. Let's make it a little bit smaller so our bar graphs can look a little bit bigger and a little bit more scaled. So I'm actually going to do it. I can't do 10. So let me do, actually, can I do 10? No, because I can't go far. So let's do 20. Scale from 0 to 20. So now when I do my scales, I can actually know what the numbers are more accurately. So USA has 12. And if you can't see the numbers, you can put show values. And you can actually see the value right there. Show values. But I'm actually going to take them off. I want to see how accurate I am without it. Russia is 11.2. Let's see. Maybe that's 11.2. Saudi Arabia is 11.1. So I'm going to put a little bit below Russia. Iraq is 4.5, so put maybe halfway between 4 and 6. Iran is exactly 4 millions of barrels per day, so that's pretty good, pretty easy for us. China is also 4.0 millions of barrels per day. Canada is 3.6, so let's go probably like around here. And UAE, the United Emirates, United Arab Emirates are 3.1. There you go. Let's see how accurate I am. Let me check. Oh, 88%. That's not bad. Let me show my. Let's see how far I was. For Russia, I put 10.5. It should be 11.2. So I was a little bit off on that one. Saudi Arabia is 11.1. Iraq is 5, which should be 4.5. 4, 4, 3. Oh, I was close on this one. 3.4 is actually 3.6. And 3.0 was a little bit off. 3.1. So that should be 99%. What? 11.1, 11.2. There you go. 100%. Look at that, right? Really awesome. Really awesome stuff so far. Let me check if there's anyone who has a question so far. JK, because there's really no one here. LOL. Let's move on to the next one, though. Now, let's create a table now. But now, instead of a bar graph, let's do a line graph, right? Let's do a line graph right here, okay? Do a line graph. So, as you can see, as right here, create table, line graph, right? So same instructions, a little bit different, but kind of the same area. Label column 1, label column 2, write the title, and then make sure the scale is pretty appropriate within the range, and then type the data here. So let's do the first one. The first one's very easy. What's my data title? Well, if I look at my graph, it says growth over time. So I can actually put growth over time, right? Super easy. Same thing with here, right here. If I look at this right here says birth 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, and 24. So this right here on the x-axis is what? My year. So I can put my year right there. And how about my y-axis? My y-axis is HT. What does HT stand for? Well, if I look right here, the line graph shows a person's height. So HT stands for height. What is this? Oh, that's something different. Yeah, so height. But height in what? Height in centimeters. Very important. Height in centimeters. That's how we're measuring it, right? So let's go. Now we have these. Now let me make my scale maybe a little bit smaller. Maybe let's see what happens if I make it. Oh, can't make it that small. No. So it's probably 0 to 200 is probably appropriate. Because if I go too low, you can't see any of my other values. If I go too high, they get pretty small. So let's just stick with 200. Boom. Now, let's put our values. At birth, how you read a line graph is you start with the x-axis. At birth, you go to where it's at. So at birth, it's how much? It's 49. Actually, I'm not going to show the values. I'm going to actually estimate. How already know that one's 49. So I'm going to put 49 centimeters at birth. That's how the person's height at birth. At 4 years old, let's see, at 4, if I go up, that looks like maybe 95. I'm sorry. And then let's go at 8 years old. At 8 years old is, maybe that's like 122. Let's go 122 maybe. At 12, it's about right below 140. So I'm actually going to go with 139. At 16 years, it's about, that looks like a 172 perhaps. At 20 years old, how high are you? Your height? That looks a little bit, maybe 179. And then 24 years old, you're about, I want to say this actually the same, probably 179 as well. Let's check my accuracy. Oh my gosh, my actually was 96% correct. So 95, so my 4 one was off. So my 4 years old is actually 94. And then my 8 years old was 124. So I was off by 2 centimeters. 12 years old is 138. I was off by 1 centimeter. 16 years old was 173. Look at me, was off by 1 centimeter as well. 20 was 178 and 178 for both of them. So it was off by 1 on both of them. And then the birth was 49 and the 4 years old was 94. Yeah, 100%. Look at that. Super awesome, huh? Now let's do one more. Let's do one more. Let's stick with create a table, and let's move on to a pie chart. Right? A pie chart. Now a pie chart's pretty unique A pie chart is the only one of the, or is only exclusive for percent. So you can't do anything else with pie charts other than recording percentage. And in a circle, it's about 100%. That's why the whole circle, if you add all the numbers, it adds to about 100%. So we're on the title again. What's the title? U.S. ethnic groups. So it's U.S. ethnic groups, right? Now, what is the white, American, Indian, Black, Asian, Hispanic? What are those? Since you actually don't know what they are, you can actually look right here at the description. The pie chart shows ethnic group percentages in the U.S. So this is actually my ethnic groups. Oh, this should be titled capitalized ethnic. My ethnic group, right? And then here should be literally my percentage. Oh, don't forget the percentage. Always put the percentage. Boom. So for white, my percentage is 64%. For American Indian is 1%. For Black is 13%. For Asian is 5%. And for Hispanic, it's 17%. So if I check, 100%, look at that. And actually I lied, let's do one more. Let's do create a graph. And let's actually do a scatter plot. And let's actually do a new one. Let's see what's a good one. Ooh, let's do price and sales data. Let's do price and sales data. So what do we have to do? Let's see, show instructions, same stuff. And then, it says drag points to create a graph. A scatter plot basically just shows you where those specific, a point determines a certain value for, like if it's a person, a tree, whatever the group is. In this case, there are items of clothing, right? So scatter plots is a really good way to actually show kind of like a key and legend. As you can see, they're all color coded. So I know if I drag my red here, I know the red stands for t-shirt, okay? So they're all color coded. They're their own version of a key / legend, right? So let's go into our work. Let's start with the title. The title is what? It should be price and sales data. Super easy. My x-axis. Now, don't confuse. There's 3 different columns here, right? But don't confuse them. We're not testing the item. We're testing the price and see how many items were sold. Look, it says the data shows the cost of items and how many were sold. So we're testing the price and we're recording how many of those were sold, right? So this should be the price in what? In dollars. You see the units, don't forget the units. In my y-axis, it's the number. And since the number doesn't have like an actual unit, we can just leave it like that, just like an actual number. Awesome. Now, let's focus on the scales. Let's focus on my x-axis. The scale is from 0 to 100. And as I can see right here, my range goes up to 62. So actually 100 is pretty appropriate. So we can leave it right there. But let's look. Oh, I actually have someone coming in. Oh, seems like we have someone here. Hello, Miguel, how are you? I was just recording myself doing some office hours, but I'm glad you're here. You can stick around with us for office hours, but they're not mandatory. I'm recording it right now in case you want to watch it later, or you can just stick around here. Whatever you want, whatever you decide to do, if you decide to stick around here, I will recommend you to go to the graphing skills on Gizmos. So what we did yesterday, we're actually going over a new section right here. We're actually going over one of the scatter plot problems. So if you want to stick around, just go to Gizmos and go to the graphing skills, and we're here in this section right here. Just let me know if you're gonna stick around for office hours. If you are, so I can wait for you. Okay. It seems like he wasn't sticking around. It's okay, Miguel. Don't need to stick around. Now, here's my full screen right here. Look at that. So where was I? Ah, yes. So, but look at my y-axis. My y-axis from 0 to 100. And as you can see, my numbers, the highest it goes is a 32. So technically, I can actually lower this to probably a 50. And it will make my data much more accurate. Okay? So let's get started. Let's get started with t-shirts. At $14, they sold about 32 items. So a t-shirt at $14, they sold about 32 items. So 14 and 32. Boom. Socks at $6, they also sold 32. So at $6 per pair, they actually sold also 32. There should be equal right there. Sweater at $49. Oh my gosh, expensive sweater. They actually sold 18 items. So not as many items because it's expensive. So 49. Oh, 18. Boom. Jacket at $62. They sold 13 items. Gosh, these are expensive stuff. So at 13, jacket at $62, my bad. They sold 13 items. Okay. Jeans at $34, they sold 19. So at 34, they also sold 19. Sweet. Belt at $14, they sold about 22. So at $14, they sold 22. Boom. And underwear at $8, they sold 28. So that's good. Hey, they sold a lot of underwear. So at $8, they sold 28. Boom. And lastly but not least, a dress at $42, they actually sold 19. So that's not bad. So at $42, they sold about 19. So my accuracy, 99. Oh, my bad. My last one's 42. Sweet. So look at this data. So you can actually conclude, in a way, the way this data looks, the more expensive the item, the less number of items they sold. So the more pricey an item gets, so as the price increases, what happens to the number of items? They actually decrease. So a jacket that was $62, the most expensive item on the store, they only sold 13. But one of the cheapest ones, socks, $6, they sold about 32. So it's actually a negative relationship. So as the price increases, what happens to the number? They decrease. So yeah, it's actually one of those things. Awesome. I'm actually going to go with another problem. I'm actually going to go down here to our assessment questions. I noticed that some people were having trouble with this one right here, number 2. So we're going to go over number 2, and we're going to go over, where's another one we can go over? Number 2, and let's do number 3. Or number 2 and number 5, actually. So let's do number 2 and number 5. So let's go to the assessment questions. Literally, it's where you have the graphing skills gizmo. I'll go all the way down to number 2, and we'll start on that one, okay? Now let me see if I can actually write on this. Let me see. Maybe I should take a picture of this. Copy image. Oh, let me copy image. Oh, I can't paste it. Hold up. Let me see if I can drag it. Maybe perhaps drag it. Boom. Oh. Maybe not. Maybe not. Is this not gonna work? Okay, it's not gonna work. So let me just do something else. Let me actually take a screenshot of this. Screenshot. Copy. Paste. Oh no, this is not gonna work either. It doesn't work. Okay. Let me make this bigger so I can actually write on it. And I'm actually gonna. Can I edit this? No, I can. Oh, can I crop this? No, I can't crop this. Okay. But it's okay. We're gonna do it right here. Oh, look at that. Like this will work. Okay, sweet. So it's like I'm gonna flip my thing over. My current, using my double chin again. But like I said, I love myself. So let's actually work on this real quick. So it says, the graph below is based on the rats in a maze data. Rats in a maze data. right? Rat in the maze data. And so you can see the title's right here, rat in the maze data, right? What is wrong with the graph? So let's do the exact same thing we've been doing for the past couple of minutes. Let's actually look at all the things that we need to identify. Well, the first thing is what? This graph, this data representation does not have a title. So right away, we know that it does not have a title. But that's not the only answer, though. It says, what is wrong with the graph? There's so many more things wrong. Let's see. There are no units on the vertical axis. Well, let's check. Let's check. Here's a vertical axis, time. Now, does time need a unit? Yes. As you can see, if you can look right here, you see where it says time? What's the unit? The unit's in what? Seconds. So, yeah, this one should also have, let me actually write this down. Seconds. And the title should be Rat in Maze Data. Yes. So once again, this also doesn't have units on the vertical axis. And then here it says a poor choice. What is it? Let's look at C. A poor choice of scale was made for the vertical axis. Well, let's look at this. The vertical axis is from 0 to 200, right? So the vertical axis is from 0 to 200, which actually it's pretty big. Look, what's the biggest number in our data? The biggest number is what? Oh, that's not good. That's not good. Oh, what did I do? Hold up. There you go. So our biggest value right here. So it's 49, and our lowest one is what? Is about 8, right? So that's pretty big. So actually, the scale should kind of be, the actual scale should probably be maybe more around the alley of, oh my gosh, I'm in the struggle bus right now. It should actually be 0 to 50. So yes on this, and then no on this. So telling you the answer is what? All of the above. All of the above. Let me get rid of this because it looks like I'm deleting it. There you go. Awesome. So that's how it should be. But let's work on another one. Let's look at another one. Let's look at another one. Let's look at number, what was the one I was going to tell you guys about? Number 5. Let me put this over real quick. Let me take a screenshot. Screenshot. Oh my God, sorry, I'm like struggling right here. This is just a struggle day. That's okay, that's good enough. Screenshot, copy, notes. Okay, let's make this bigger real quick. There you go. Okay, sweet. Now once again, I'm going to flip this over. Some action again. 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 Okay. So, let's look at this. So what's it asking? The question's asking us what? 8 college students. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Record how many hours they exercised every week, right? And then they measured their pulse, heartbeats per minute, while they were resting. While they were resting. Period. What does the graph show? Sorry, this should be what? My bad.
What does the graph show? You guys get the idea. What does the graph show? It got cropped up. Dang it. Guys, today's is such a struggle day, but it's okay. Okay, so what does the graph show? Well, let's take a look at this so far. Well, let's look at each statement just by looking at this right now. Before we look at the statement, what can we tell about this? Well, we have the x-axis, exercise per week, so that's what they're testing. Look at that. And then they have the post per minute, what they're recording. So they're testing and they're recording. They're testing the exercise per week and they're recording the posts in beats per minute, right? We have our title, post versus exercise. Not bad. I like that. I like that title. Now, what can we tell right here? Well, let's look at A real quick. The more you exercise, the higher your resting pulse, right? So it says the more you exercise. So as exercise increases, what happens to your resting pulse? It says also increases. So is this going to be a direct relationship or an inverse? It says here that it's a direct relationship. Well, let's look at that. What does that mean? Actually, that looked really weird. I don't like that. But what does that mean? Direct relationship, right? That means as more you exercise, the higher your resting pulse. Well, let's see. What happens as exercise increases? So 290. So like at 2 hours, it's about 84 beats per minute. At 4 hours, it's about 62 beats per minute. So as you can see, as the exercise increases, what happens to the pulse? The pulse what? The pulse decreases. So your pulse is actually lower. So is this accurate? The more you exercise, the higher your resting pulse? No, not at all. This is wrong. Wrong. Let's look at the next one. The more you exercise, the lower your resting heart rate. So if this one's saying this time around, this one's saying the more you exercise, so once again, as the exercise increases, what happens to your resting pulse? It decreases. So it's actually an inverse relationship. So as one goes up, the other one goes down. Or the other way around, as one goes down, the other one goes up. They're opposite directions. So let's take a look. As the exercise increases, what happens to the resting pulse? It actually decreases. It actually is pretty good. The more you exercise, what happens to the pulse? It lowers it. It goes lower. So actually, this is a pretty accurate statement. But let's keep going because we still got two more. We got two more possibilities. Let's look at C. Exercise has no effect on your resting pulse. Now, wait a minute. It says that exercise has no impact on your resting pulse. If that was the case, if exercise had no effect on resting pulse, then the resting pulse would be the same. The same would be a straight horizontal line. But this proves right here that the exercise does indeed impact your pulse. So this is actually wrong as well. Let's look at the last one. The last one says, all of the college students had the same resting pulse. Wait, now. It's saying that each of these 8 college students, they all had the same resting pulse. Well, you can already look at that. They each have what? They each have different resting pulse, which is why the scatter plot is all spread out. If they all had the same resting pulse, they will all be on the same pulse, the same horizontal line. So this one's also indeed wrong, right? Dang, look at that. Isn't that interesting? So with that being said, the only possible answer is B. Cool. Right? Sweet. Now, let's see if we can make a statement on one of these. Let's go back to the first one right here. The rats and the mace data. No, not this one. Let's go to another one. Let's go back to gizmos, and I'm actually going to copy and paste one of them. Let's do
Actually, let's do this one. Yeah. Let's take a screenshot of this, the one we just did on the scatter plot, and let's actually make a CER statement. Let's actually make a CER statement, a claim, evidence, and reasoning statement. Cool. So let's actually make a claim, evidence, and reasoning statement here, okay? So I'm actually going to do this right here. I'm going to make a new little chat box right here, a little text box. So let's ask the question. What happens, oh, no. Ask the question, what happens to, let's say, what happens to the number of sales per item as the price increases? Right? So let's ask that question. What happens to the number of sales per item as the price increases? Okay, I'm changing the color. I'm going to change the color. I'm going to make this into a blue. And I'm actually going to make this title. JK, it's big. Nope. Whoa. Okay, let's make another one. Let's go with my claim. My claim is what? My claim is my answer to my question. So what's my claim? Ooh, actually, I want to switch the colors. Make it red or black. I like black. Claim. What's the answer to my question, right? Claim is the answer. Oh, you guys know that. Answer the question. Well, I can put, what happens to the number of sales per item as the price increases? Well, we concluded that as the price increases, what happens to the sales of items? It actually decreases. So we can put, as the price per item increases, the number of sales decrease. So I put emphasis on some of the words, but you get the idea, right? There's my claim, right? As the price per item increases, the number of sales decreases. That's my answer to my question. What's my next part? My next part is my what? CE. CE is evidence. So what's my evidence? Change the color now. Let's make it green. Oh. So evidence. Evidence is my proof. Well, where can I see my proof? Well, you can put that on the scatter plot. You can put that each point as the number increases, the number of sales decreases, right? So you can actually put something like, according to the data, right? According to the data, the number, according to the data, let me put my thought. According to the data, the price of item goes down as, the number of items sold, the number of items sold, my bad. Let me go back and just backtrack, because I don't want to say the same thing as I claim, right? So let's go evidence. According to the data, the graph is showing a negative relationship. There you go. That's much better. That means that as X increases, Y decreases. Now, Mr. Cassie, what does that mean? What does that mean? Well, I got you guys. I'm going to tell you guys what that means. So according to the data, the graph is showing a negative relationship. That means that as X increases, what's X? X is what? X is my X-axis, so my price, right? My price right here. X is my price right here, right? So that means that as X increases, what happens to my Y? My Y-axis. My Y what? Decreases. So as price increases, my Y decreases. So it's a negative relationship, okay? And let's go to the last one. Ooh, am I going to have enough space? Let's go to the last one, reasoning. And let's actually change the color to yellow. So reasoning. Now reasoning is to justify my claim, right? So I need to actually show that my evidence is supporting my answer. So reasoning is justifying my evidence so it can support my claim. So it's like a little trickle-down effect. So my reasoning is, I'm going to put, let's say, reasoning is, you can tell that items such as, now this is where I actually justify, items such as jackets and sweaters are selling the least because of its price, right? Oh, can't see that. Oh, I'm gonna put this like this. Hopefully that's okay. Let me just make this a different color actually, so you can actually see it. Perhaps black? Nope. Perhaps white? Oh, nope. Perhaps. Nope. Hopefully that works out. I'm gonna make this a little bit this way. I'm gonna make this a little bit this way, and then I'm gonna make this right here. Boom. And then I'm gonna put no one wants to buy expensive items. They like the fair prices. Oh, you still can't see that, but you know, you get the idea. I'm gonna put right here so you can see it. You get the idea, right? Reasoning right there. So basically, I'm saying, let me change the color to maybe red. There you go. Now I'm saying that you can tell the items such as jackets and sweaters, which are the most expensive ones, are selling the least because of its price. And then I added more principle, more justification. I put no one wants to buy expensive items. They like the fair prices. It's pretty simple reasoning. So I got my claim, my evidence, reasoning. Boom, boom, boom. Slap a little bow on the top, and it looks pretty. Boom. End of my statement. That answered my question. My claim answered my question. My evidence supported my claim, and my reasoning justified my claim. So my reasoning justified my evidence with my claim. Okay, and that's pretty much it. That is the CER statement, everyone. Now, I think that's it. I'm actually going to stop this. I got about 7 minutes left, but I doubt anyone's going to be joining in. So that's pretty much it. Watch these office hours recordings if it brings you some clarification. I would definitely recommend it because I think a lot of great things were reviewed here. Okay, but I hope all you guys have a great rest of your day. Okay, ciao, goodbye.